Good morning, representatives. Welcome to the 9th day of session 2025, January the 24th, 10 a.m. We are going to call this session into order. Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
Convening roll call for the 9th day, January 24th, 2025. Alamand?
Excused, or no?
Andrew?
There.
Angelos? Banks? Bear?
Excused?
Brady? Bratton? Brown Gary? Brown Landon? Byron? Campbell Elisa? Campbell Kevin? Chestick? Clouston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Filer? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haraldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp?
Excused?
Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke? Lucas? McCann? Nicholas? Ottman?
Excused?
Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins?
Excused?
Rodriguez Williams?
Excused?
Schmid?
Excused?
Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strock?
Excused?
Stivar? Tarver? Thayer? Washut? Wasserberger? Webb? Weber? Worf? Williams? Winter? Wiley? Yin? Speaker Nyman.
Here. We've got some other members that just come in. You might run again. It looks like all of them are in here. So do you want to finish? Yeah, bunch of them.
Alamand? Bear? Knapp? Ottman? Rodriguez Williams? Schmid? Strock?
Excused? We'll just hold it open for a little bit here because I'm sure they're here. I've seen several of these members here already this morning, so they're just not in the chamber right this moment. Okay, fellow members and guests, if you would please stand, and we will allow Representative Washut to open us in prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This morning, O Lord, we awoke in a warm bed, took a hot shower, ate our robust breakfast, came to work, parked in a heated garage, and entered the most beautiful building in the state. We are so very blessed. Today, as we wind down our week, it is good that we pause and remember those in our state who slept in the cold, those who went to bed hungry and awoke with no anticipation of a meal, those who lack employment, and those who labor but earn too little. Bring to our consciousness those who awaken fearing further abuse, those who forego a meal in a quest to satisfy their addiction, and those who feel helpless and hopeless and who desire only for their anguish to end. O Lord, may we never ignore your people who will shoulder the consequences of our decisions here. We lift up our prayers to you this morning, seeking your forgiveness for our many failings and your grace to inspire us. And we add a prayer of healing for our Representative J.R. Riggins, skill and talent for his caregivers, and safe travels for all of our members over this weekend. In your name, O Lord, amen.
Amen. Fellow members and guests, join me in the salute to our flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There it is. I wondered who was going to say that.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Morning, Dalton. Oh my God, we got us a leprechaun. I didn't really realize how green you really are.
I have to support all environmental stuff today. I want to say we're that one city were the first. That one that looked like
Representatives, we're going to recall the roll call. We had a screen change up here on the computer system, and so just to make sure that everybody is noted that they are duly and in the chamber, we're going to just quickly recall the roll, and then we've got some privileges of the floor, and we'll take care of those immediately. Chief Clerk.
Allemand. Andrew. Angelos. Banks. Bear. Brady. Bratton. Brown Gary. Brown Landon. Byron. Campbell Elisa. Campbell Kevin. Chestick. Clouston. Connolly. Connolly. Davis. Eklund. Erickson. Feiler. Geringer. Guggenmoss. Haroldson. Harshman. Heiner. Heft. Jarvis. Johnson. Kelly. Knapp. Larson Lloyd. Larson JT. Lawley. Lean. Locke. Lucas. McCann. Nicholas. Ottman. Pendergraft. Posey. Provenza. Riggins, excused. Rodriguez Williams. Schmid. Sherwood. Singh. Smith. Storer. Strock. Stivar. Tarver. Thayer. Washut. Wasserberger. Webb. Weber. Worf. Williams. Winter. Wiley. Yin. Speaker Nyman. 61 present, 1 excused.
Thank you, Chief Clerk. Next item on our agenda is Journal Committee report.
Your Journal Committee reports that the Journal of January 23rd, 2025 has been read and recommends that it be approved. Representatives Jarvis and Posey.
Thank you. Thank you, Reading Clerk. We have some privileges of the floor here we want to get out of the way. Representative Johnson, or not Johnson, oh, for heaven's sake, Brown. Thank you, Representative Johnson.
Privilege of the floor.
Please, by all means, Representative Brown, Gary.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would, I have one of my constituents here today. In the South Gallery, the lady in the white cap, a true patriot that wants to help us get things done. If you'd please recognize her and welcome her to the floor.
Thank you, Representative Brown. Welcome to the House. Next, Representative Feiler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Privilege of the floor.
By all means.
Folks, I don't know if y'all remember, well, only a handful of us might remember, 10 years ago here, there was a nice, beautiful young lady that was actually an honorary page when we were in that session. And now she's pretty well all grown up and on her way to being a nurse also here. And it's my daughter, Vanessa. And I also want to introduce her soon-to-be husband, TJ. They're over here in the back gallery. Stand up.
Welcome to the House, and thanks for loaning us your dad for a few weeks here. Representative Larson Lloyd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Privilege, if I may.
Please.
I might, just as a matter of information, I believe that soon-to-be nurse up there talked her dad into running a bill about making a state cookie or something. Is that the one, Representative Feiler? I believe it is. And so, but today I kind of have two privileges I want to share with you. I was really fortunate last night because we had people visiting us from our counties and stuff, but I just really had the opportunity to sit down with my county and talk about issues that are important. And we're so fortunate in Fremont County to have the elected officials that we do at the county level. And I'd like to recognize our clerk, Julie Freese, who's here with her assistant over the elections, Margie Irvine, and our clerk of courts, Amanda Sanchez. They're up there in the back if they would stand and join us. And Thank you. Thank you. And then if I may, Heidi, oh buddy. So Heidi Shade is a constituent of mine. Her older brothers came here and were pages I can still remember in their little black suits and their shiny little black shoes, sitting there. They're just such a great family. And if you've watched her, you're going to hear from her. I would just submit to you, this is our future and it's pretty dang bright. We're proud of you and thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Representative Larson. Appreciate that. Folks visiting, thank you for being in the House. Next, Representative Williams,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Privilege.
please.
I would like to recognize five more of our legislative interns who are here to help legislators and legislative staff. Thank you for bringing intern coordinator, Mr. Richard Keene, with you today. Welcome.
Coordinator Keene and young people, thank you and welcome to the House. Any other privileges? Question being called. All those in favor of no more privileges for a little while. Okay, next item on our agenda is a special event here. We've got our high school intern recognition. So if you folks would come on in, we will get that taken care of.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Casey Toner. I'm one of the high school interns. Kind of bittersweet moment, my second and last time as an intern, as a high school intern. Serving in this capacity has been more than just a role. It's been a privilege to watch the legislative body do what you do behind the scenes. I've witnessed firsthand the commitment to our Wyoming future. All of you leaders are contributing positively to Wyoming future. I wanted to thank the Legislative Service Office for trusting me with this opportunity and mentoring me along the way. Your leadership and guidance has left a lasting impact on how I view governance and advocacy. A special thank you to our mentor, Dick King, who's helped us along the way. I've learned probably more history and personal history from him than I could have ever asked for, and thank you. Additionally, a thank you to a lady I call my legislative grandmother, Miss Sandy Dent. You've been a guiding light through the often complex and fast-paced environment of the legislature. Your wisdom, your humor, and your steadfast support have showed me that this experience can be enjoyable. You're a mentor, family, and a source of constant encouragement, and I'll carry the lessons you shared with me through my life and career. Additionally, a heartfelt thank you to Ty, Cade, and Becky Harris, the people who have opened their door to let me stay here. Let me tell you, hotels are expensive, and these people have done nothing but open their doors and let me stay with them. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here today, but they're joining us via video, so a special thank you to them. These past few weeks, I'm kind of reminded why I got into public service. Growing up in Wyoming, I saw how the decisions made here directly impact my neighbors, our schools, and our industries. And this internship reaffirmed my belief in the importance of representing the voices of all Wyomingites. These chambers remind me that the work we do is not just about drafting bills or passing resolutions. It's about the people, their stories, their struggles, and their dreams. These moments have fueled my passion. Thank you. Thank you. These moments have fueled my passion for public service and my commitment to making a difference, no matter how big or small. As I move forward, I carry with me not just the skills I've developed, but also the lessons I've learned about collaboration, resilience, and the power of listening. I've learned real change requires more than just ideas. It demands teamwork, respect for diverse perspectives, and a willingness to compromise. These are lessons I will take with me into every endeavor, whether in public service, education, or beyond. Though I'm stepping away from this role as an intern, my commitment to Wyoming remains steadfast. I leave not here with a goodbye, but a promise to continue working for a brighter future for our state, advocating for the principles that matter most to me, and carrying the spirit of public service wherever I go. Thank you for your support, your leadership, and your encouragement. And I'm deeply honored to have watched the legislative process, and I look forward to when our paths cross again. God bless these chambers, God bless this state, and God bless every one of you while navigating the future of our state in the coming months. Thank you.
Good morning, representatives. I am Presley Bray. I'm a homeschooled junior in high school from up in Cody. And I was actually made aware of this opportunity by Representative Rodriguez-Williams, and I am deeply grateful to her for making me aware of this opportunity, and to all of y'all for allowing such a thing as a legislative internship that's not available in all states. And I appreciate it. I thank Representative Haraldson for getting me in touch with where I am staying, and I'm very grateful to the Nichols who have hosted me for these past 2 weeks. I have also been adopted by Miss Sadie Dent as my legislative grandmother, and she's been amazing, helped keep my safety paramount when on last Friday I was headed over the mountain. She got me out of here early. Very kind. Miss Rihanna Davidson and Mr. Dick Keene also helped in that. I thank both of them for their mentorship in allowing me to do this. So I've made many connections, and I've learned a lot by being immersed in Capitol life for these past 2 weeks. I'm very grateful to all of y'all for this opportunity once more. I'm actually aspiring to a career in music performance. So if you don't mind, I'll leave y'all with a song. The song, How Can I Keep From Singing, is an old Gaelic hymn that is very reflective of my life. My life goes on in endless song, above earth's lamentations. I hear the trumpet sounding strong that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear its music ringing. It ever echoes in my life. How can I keep from singing? No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to this rock I'm clinging. How could I ever come to harm? How can I keep from singing? Then sings my soul with love profound, a fountain ever springing. Deep from the earth, how sweet the sound. How can I keep from singing?
Ladies and gentlemen of the chamber, I just want to give you a little bit of insight into what you just watched there. Members of the House, each year the Wyoming Legislature sponsors the Legislative Leadership Program, internship program, providing high school and college students with a unique insight into the legislative branch of government and its crucial role in creating public policy. Our 2 high school interns will complete their internships today, as you've seen, and they would like to share a few thoughts, as you have seen. What a blessing that was. Representatives, please join me in thanking Casey Toner, a senior at Glen Rock High School, and Presley Bray, a homeschool student out of Coyote, Wyoming, for their inspiring service to this body and to the 68th legislature. Once again, let's please stand and recognize these two young people, and then I'm going to let you give them thanks to go out. He's here in the house? Oh, okay. Thank you, members. Another quick announcement here before we get to our next special speaker. Cole, everybody knows Cole Bateman, the IT guy? Well, believe it or not, this gentleman is going to be 30 years old Sunday. So let's give him a little happy birthday, and if we could, who you got? Representative Brown, if you could lead us. Thank you, Cole. We appreciate you keeping us going. That was truly dreadful, Body. That was fantastic. So, no, I think the audio of that will truly bear out what I just said. But thank you, Cole. Okay, next I would like to recognize a young lady that has blessed us with the last few days here helping us, Miss Heidi Shade. We'd like for her to let us know her thoughts and give her an opportunity to speak. Ms. Shade.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you, Representative Larson, for that amazing introduction. Now, I can't sing, so I'll spare you guys today, but that was a beautiful job, Paisley. As you already know, my name is Heidi Shade. I've had an honor to serve as a page for the Wyoming House of Representatives this past week. It has truly been an unforgettable experience, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share a few words with you. During my time this week, I've helped with several duties and tasks that give me an inside look to the daily operations of the House. From helping with administrative work, sitting in on committee meetings, running notes out to your desks, and even sorting paper clips in the break room. Every moment has been an incredible learning experience. One of my favorite highlights this week was watching the passionate debates and the long, thoughtful discussions that shape our laws. It was both enlightening and motivating to see how democracy functions up close. I want to express my heartfelt thanks to all the members of the House for welcoming me into this esteemed institution. Your dedication to serving the people of Wyoming is truly inspiring. I've learned so much by observing your commitment to the legislative process and the hard work you put into making our state a better place. What I really loved this week was seeing how each of you came up to me. You got to know me, you joke around with me, and you took a genuine interest in my activities and accomplishments. You made me feel valued and appreciated every single day. Additionally, I would specifically like to thank Representative Martha Lawley and former Representative Sarah Penn. Their unwavering support and willingness to take me under their wing has truly been inspiring. I am privileged to have both of these women in my life as role models, and I'm truly grateful to both of them. I would also like to extend my deepest gratitude to the House staff, whose support has made this week both educational and enjoyable. Miss Patty, thank you for your patience and always answering my many questions. There were a lot. And Rick, as promised, I didn't forget about you. Your unsolicited advice and sarcastic comments made this week not only enjoyable, but also very entertaining. The experiences that I had here not only broadened my knowledge of government and public service, but has also inspired me to continue exploring ways that I can contribute to my community. It is my intention that after continuing my education, I can follow in the footsteps of you fine representatives to serve the great state of Wyoming and its people like you. Once again, I want to thank you for welcoming me here. This has truly been an incredible opportunity, and I'm grateful for the time I had. I will carry the lessons I have learned here with me always. Thank you.
Thank you, representatives, for the coordinated clapping example there. We appreciate that. It is so encouraging to be able to sit in this dais and to be able to watch these young people as they come up and they're able to present themselves and the quality of the young people that we are having the opportunity to be able to work with us in this legislature. It is very, very, very encouraging, and I'm so thankful. And I appreciate you as a body that you are so willing to help these young men and women to strive and to have excellence in their lives. And as they move ahead and they are going to become the future leaders of this state and this nation, we should be encouraged at what we have coming. And I love the diversity. I love homeschoolers, and I love the public school kids, and I love the other forms of education that we've had the opportunity to see, and the quality that is out there and the caliber of the people that Wyoming produces. We should all be thankful because we truly are abundantly blessed with the youth that we get to see growing up in this state. So with that, Representative Lawley, you must have something.
Privilege of the floor, quickly.
By all means, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Although Heidi, it might be in Lloyd's district and Lloyd knows her family, I knew her first. She used to live in Worland, and I took care of her in the church nursery when she was 3 years old, and she was just as delightful then as she is now.
Thank you, Representative Lawley. I do have one quick announcement. Representative Campbell, during the play ball, he had a couple of bills that he has misplaced. He's looking for them. So if you see them on your desk, if they got set down, the guy waving his arms on the right-hand side or the north end of he needs those bills. So if you do see him, he's looking for those. So anything else that needs to be announced? Seeing nothing, we will move on to the next. No messages from the Senate unless something has changed. Okay, introduction, reading, and referencing of bills. Let me get back to there. Okay, we are at that order of business, an introduction, reading, and reference of bills. The first bill for our consideration is House Bill 181.
House Bill 181, sponsored by Representative Larson Lloyd.
First reading of the bill.
Funeral contracts, investment, and bonding requirements.
House Bill 181 will be assigned to our committee number 3. Excuse me, House Bill number 218, next bill for our consideration.
House Bill 218, sponsored by Representative Locke.
First reading of the bill.
Public utilities, stays during resolution of lawsuits.
House Bill 218 will also be sent to committee number 3, revenue. Next bill for our consideration is House Bill 246.
House Bill 246, sponsored by Representative Stivar.
First reading of the bill.
Wyoming Wednesday.
House Bill 246 will also be assigned to committee number 3, revenue. Next bill for our consideration will be House Bill 100.
House Bill 100, sponsored by Representative Andrew.
First reading of the bill.
K through 12, uncertified personnel.
House Bill 100 will be assigned to our committee number 4, education. Next bill for our consideration will be House Bill 202.
House Bill 202, sponsored by Representative Filer.
First reading of the bill.
Fast Track Permits Act.
House Bill 202 will also be assigned to committee number 4, education. House Bill number 265, next bill for our consideration.
House Bill 265, sponsored by Representative Singh.
First reading of the bill.
Defend the Guard Act.
House Bill 265 will be assigned to our committee number 4, education. Next bill for our consideration will be House Bill 117.
House Bill 117, sponsored by Water.
First reading of the bill.
Omnibus Water Bill Construction.
House Bill 117 will be assigned to our committee number 5, agriculture. Next bill for our consideration will be House Bill 219.
House Bill 219, sponsored by Representative Locke.
First reading of the bill.
County and municipal roads on state lands, easements granted.
House Bill 219 will be assigned to committee number 5, agriculture. Next bill for our consideration will be House Bill 123.
House Bill 123, sponsored by Representative Nyman.
First reading of the bill.
Adverse possession, property tax payment defense.
House Bill 123 will be assigned to committee number 5, agriculture. Next bill for our consideration will be House Bill 281.
House Bill 281, sponsored by Representative Winter.
First reading of the bill.
Landowner hunting coupons, hunts that harvest no animal.
House Bill 281 will be assigned to committee number 5, agriculture. Next bill for our consideration will be House Bill 225.
House Bill 225, sponsored by Representative Brown, Landon.
First reading of the bill.
Parking during legislative meetings.
House Bill 225 will be assigned to our committee number 8, transportation. Next and last bill for introduction is House Bill 226.
House Bill 226, sponsored by Representative Campbell.
First reading of the bill.
License Plate Search and Rescue Council.
House Bill 226 will also be assigned to our committee number 8, transportation. And that concludes introductions. Next on our agenda, we will get our reports from standing committees.
House Bill 5, sponsored by Travel, Fishing Outfitters and Guides, Registration of Fishing Boats. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 6, Travel, Recreation, Wildlife, and Cultural Resources, to whom is referred House Bill 5, Fishing Outfitters and Guides, Registration of Fishing Boats, respectfully report same back to the House with the recommendation to do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Byron, Campbell, Connolly, Harshman, Jarvis, Provenza, Storer, Thayer, Wharf. Representative Byron, Chairman. House Bill 62, sponsored by Representative Heiner. Prostitution amendments. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 1, Judiciary, to whom is referred House Bill 62, prostitution amendments, respectfully report same back to the House with the recommendation to do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Brady, Bratton, Chestick, Filer, Kelly, Lean, Singh, Washit, Webb. Representative Singh, Vice Chair. House Bill 83, sponsored by Representative Pendergraft. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 1, Judiciary, to whom is referred House Bill 83, Child Custody Sex Offense Conviction Presumption, respectfully report same back to the House with the recommendation to do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Brady, Bratton, Chestick, Filer, Kelly, Lean, Singh, Washit, Webb. Representative Singh, Vice Chairman. House Bill 86, sponsored by Appropriations, Public Property and Building Amendments. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 8, Transportation, Highways, and Military Affairs, to whom is referred House Bill 86, Public Property and Building Amendments, respectfully report same back to the House with the recommendation to do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Banks, Brown, Geringer, Larson, McCann, Nicholas, Posey, Tarver, Wiley. Representative Brown, Chairman. House Bill 159, sponsored by Representative Bear, protecting water for chemical abortion waste. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 10, Labor, Health, and Social Services, to whom is referred House Bill 159, protecting water from chemical abortion waste, respectfully report same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Gugelmast, Heft, McCann, Ottman, Rodriguez-Williams, Wasserberger. Noes, Representatives Clauston, Yin. Excused, Representative Stivar. Representative Rodriguez-Williams, Chairman.
Thank you. We are at that order of business of bills on second reading. The first bill for our consideration is House Bill 20. House Bill 20 having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no.
I have to read it first.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have to read it again. I'm trying to get us out of here early. Anyway, go ahead. Reading clerk, please read the bill.
House Bill 20, sponsored by School Facilities, K through 12 school facility leasing.
Now, House Bill 20 having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration is House Bill 22.
House Bill 22, sponsored by Representative Campbell, Water and Wastewater Operator Emergency Response.
We have amendments. Representative Davis. Second reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 22.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to move House Bill, our first reading amendment to House Bill number 22. This is just a little bit of a cleanup amendment for it. I visited with the bringer of the bill, and she seems to be confident with it. But what we want to do on page 1 is change some of the verbiage to be a little more better use with the counties and everything here. By removing requiring, insert authorizing. On page 2, we would move shall and insert may. On page 2 also, we would remove will and insert may. And on page 2, line 11, remove shall and insert may. With the overload of what we've got in our smaller communities, this would be an additional burden on them. If they would like to get on board, I think it would be very good. And I do believe her bill about water and wastewater to the infrastructure is extremely important. With this, I hope for a favorable vote.
Thank you, Representative Davis. Representative Campbell for your first time.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Absolutely friendly amendment. I mean, the whole point is to give our cities and our counties the option to and not mandate them, because this is going to be challenging for some of those cities and counties, and I appreciate that. Question, truly procedural. In terms of the amendment, I understand on page 2, line 10, or line 11, that changing that shall to may makes sense to me because that's the change in statute I am recommending. All the rest of it is existing statute. So can that be amended? I don't know. So I'm asking the question.
Any others for their first time? Representative Yin.
Mr. Speaker, yeah, as long as it's relevant and germane to the bill, you can insert new language into existing language. It's just fine.
Thank you, Representative Yin. Any others for their first time? Seeing no one, second time? Back to the bringer. Representative Davis.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With that, I would call for the question.
Question having been called. Members, you are voting on second reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 22. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The amendment has been adopted. Let's see, that was House Bill 22 having been read two separate times. The question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration is House Bill 25.
House Bill 25, sponsored by Transportation, Vehicle Accident Reporting Amendments.
House Bill 25, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration, House Bill 28.
House Bill 28, sponsored by Transportation, Commercial Driver's Licenses Revisions.
House Bill 28, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration, House Bill 30.
House Bill 30, sponsored by Transportation.
House Bill 30, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration, House Bill 33.
House Bill 33, sponsored by Transportation, Vehicle Sales and Use Tax Distribution Highway Funds.
House Bill 33, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration, House Bill 38.
House Bill 38, sponsored by Revenue, Ad valorem Taxation, Payment and Credit of Penalties.
House Bill 38, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration, House Bill 40.
House Bill 40, sponsored by Revenue, Sales and Use Tax Revisions.
House Bill 40, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration, House Bill 41.
House Bill 41, sponsored by Representative Lawley, Environmental Quality, Irrevocable Letters of Credit.
House Bill 41, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration, House Bill 69.
House Bill 69, sponsored by Corporations, Foreign Adversary Ownership or Control of Business Entities.
Having been read two separate times, House Bill 69, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. House Bill 75, next bill for our consideration.
House Bill 75, sponsored by Representative Clauston, Coal Severance Tax Rate.
House Bill 75, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration, House Bill 79.
House Bill 79, sponsored by Representative Stivar, Bond Elections, Voter Threshold Requirement.
House Bill 79, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration, House Bill 93.
House Bill 93, sponsored by Agriculture, Protect Wyoming's Lands Act.
House Bill 93, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration, House Bill 122.
House Bill 122, sponsored by Representative Connolly, Senior Citizen Service Districts, Authorization and Renewal.
House Bill 122, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our consideration, House Bill 129.
House Bill 129, sponsored by Representative Larson JT, School Finance, Dates for Funds Transfers.
House Bill 129, having been read two separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Next bill for our House Joint Resolution for our consideration, number 2.
House Joint Resolution 2, sponsored by Agriculture, Foreign Adversary, Prohibited Partner, Property Ownership.
We have amendments. Second reading amendment number 1, Representative Banks, please.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, thank you. I move second reading amendment number 1 to House Joint Resolution 2. After discussion yesterday, the good representative across the hill brought this to our attention, and we had some consultation with the good people who draft our bills, and found that, yeah, that was the correct interpretation, that if that's in there, it could be the opposite of what we're trying to do and say that they're not entitled to taxation at all. And we don't want to be tax exempting anybody through this piece of legislation. So this amendment is simple. It just takes out on page 2, line 10, taxation, and on page 3, line 8 takes out taxation. So that's what this amendment does, just cleaning up the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Anyone else want to speak on this first time? Okay, Representative Banks, question being called. Members, you are voting on second reading amendment number 1 to House Joint Resolution number 2. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. Amendment has been adopted. House Joint Resolution number 2, having been read 2 separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Okay, we'll move on. We don't have any third reading consent, so ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on to regular third reading. We are at that order of business on bills on third reading and final passage. The first bill for our consideration is House Bill 94.
House Bill 94 is sponsored by Representative Andrew. Charter School Authorizations Amendments, an act relating to education.
House Bill 94 has amendments. Representative Harshman, if you would please
Thank you.
lead us. Thank
Mr.
you.
Speaker, I'd move third reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 94. We have a little printer problems over there, so I don't have a hard copy in front of me, but really this bill opens it wide open. And I just want us to pump the brakes on this. Why is the first question. And secondly, I think we want to make sure what we've already done doesn't crash land. If you look nationwide, charter schools have a 55% closure rate. We have the best public schools in America in this state. Our Constitution is so powerful for our public schools. It's incredible. It's the envy of the rest of the nation. And I know the charter school thing is really popular in other states. State to our west just went through a major scandal. And part of the issue is, you know, our locally elected school board trustees, they meet, every dollar is in the public. All of our state statutes on accounting for every dollar is so transparent. And now when this money cash cow goes, because these are going to be about $9 million a piece to set up. That's why I put an appropriation in there, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to pay for stuff. And thank you. And then, so I put the appropriation in there and limited it to 2, Mr. Speaker, in this amendment. To just throw this wide open, for the least populated state in the United States, the 10th largest geographic, where most of our small, tiny districts, the public school is the heart of the community. I just want us to think a little bit. I don't know, I won't call for a raise of hands, I can't do that, Mr. Speaker, but how many of us graduated from a Wyoming public school? Jeez, at least half of us in here. A bunch of us. It's really powerful. And I think, and raised our kids and done all this stuff, but then to open it up to these out-of-state corporations, these aren't Wyoming corporations. They're gonna get out-of-state corporations that come in and do this across the country. And I know this is like one of those things, we just fly a political banner across the sky and everybody's woohoo, woohoo. Boy, I urge caution. Biggest expense we had 2 years ago in the education budget was setting up a couple of these state-run charters. So to put a bill out there, and you can read the fiscal note, could be considerable, have no idea. Be careful. Just do a little reading about the couple of state charters in your community. And I'm not slamming on this thing, but this is all about people. People run these organizations, and that's why we have accounting and laws to keep everything public dollars, the precious public dollars, accounted for. You know, a lot of people say water is our most precious resource. I think it's our children. And I would just urge your adoption of this amendment. If we want to expand this a little bit, let's expand it a little bit. I think blowing the doors off this thing will probably ensure their failure. And yeah, so I just think be really careful. And I look forward to the debate. And thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the body. I just want to pump the brakes on this thing. And if we are going to do it, let's pay for it. And I guess I can go run another amendment if this one fails. Maybe I just put 100 million or 500 million, I don't know. I don't know what's the limit. And so I urge caution. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Harshen. Representative Erickson, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too kind of had a perfect storm of a situation and experience, a legislative experience where this came out of my committee. I'm also have joined a lot of individuals in the parent choice idea and promoting that to people that it specifically applies to. However, and I've been a part of that at the one charter school that was selected in the north end of the Valley of the Stars. And I watched that very closely. However, as I said, the perfect storm, this seems as if it is way too much wide open now, going from 2 all the way to unlimited. And I'm afraid that that's not going to have the checks and balances that we want. It's not going to allow for us to really have the very most quality of the charter schools that apply. I think with it being wide open, it's going to be now to where anyone with any anticipation can apply, and that's going to really bottleneck, I think, the system or cost us a great amount of money. So I would also encourage some limit, very much some limit, or pumping the brakes definitely on this. And I thank you for my time.
Thank you, Representative Erickson. Representative Clouston, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and for this amendment. You know, when I served on the State Board of Education, we looked at charter schools and we had a plan. And then here in the House, in this body, we had a plan 2 years ago that we're going to open it up to some more. We're going to study the performance of these schools. We're going to look at the costs, and then we're going to see what was best for Wyoming. These are public schools. We have to pay for them. You know, I come from a community where we've had multiple studies that show we need a new high school. I've been in there and watched them carry kids up in wheelchairs because the elevator doesn't work. I've been in the principal's office as sewer water drips. We have kids late for school because we don't have enough working bathrooms. And here we're going to fund whatever schools we need, unlimited here, where we really have needs in other parts of our public education. So I'm on and for expansion of choice. I'm on and for this amendment. And I want you to think about what we're doing here, but the other schools that we have to protect and the important education of all of our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Clouston. Representative Davis, or first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A view has been related to me that, in their opinion, the state is funding these charters in direct conflict with our public schools. And we're currently cutting funding to our public schools through property tax. So it just seems that we're not cutting anything towards the charter schools. We're dishing out dollars and not cutting the dollars that we're using to fund them. So I'm all in favor of this amendment.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Ocean Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and against this amendment, there is no need for an appropriation in this bill because charter schools are funded by generated ADM and through other mechanisms through the model, just like any other public school, because charter schools are public schools. We aren't building them buildings. We may pay lease payments. They may be in schools that have been abandoned but are still owned by school districts. There are ways to deal with that. Additionally, there's no reason to cap the number of schools simply because we don't see that charter schools explode in any state that has placed no cap or a high cap. Colorado, for example, has no caps, and over the last 20 years, they've averaged approximately 20 new schools per year. Idaho, for example, for over the last 21 years, has authorized about 3 per year, and New Mexico, which allows up to 15 per year, has done about 3 per year too. So there is no reason to put a cap on this. It will naturally be pretty controlled. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Byron, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and for the amendment, folks. In my neck of the woods, we just did this, and it was a heck of a process. You know, we had specific language in there to get it through, and we saw a few other communities around the state that decided to throw their name in the hat to try to get a school in. So we are on the verge of an explosion of this. It is hard. It takes a lot of work from each community. Additionally, we have a board that's going to have to review all this. With the potential influx of these schools and these applications, this board is going to be, might as well just move to Cheyenne and get working. On and for.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Bear, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The previous speaker just said we're on the verge of an explosion. I think we should all take a moment. I think he's right, and just ask the question, why? Why are we on the verge of an explosion of parents taking their children to charter schools and choosing to homeschool and choosing to do private education, which we have another bill trying to deal with that? I think it's true that after the pandemic, people realized that they're probably not getting their money's worth with public education. But we have a constitutional obligation to provide that education. This is a method that actually does it at a much lower cost. If you look at the average cost per student in charter schools that comes out of the school foundation compared to what our regular public schools do, this is a lower cost, probably because the parents are more involved. And there's been criticism of charter schools. If there is one, it's that parents get really excited about it, get it going, and sometimes that set of parents drift off. But we have to give these parents an opportunity to choose to get an opportunity for a better education for their children. This does that. The funding is there, and this is a less expensive way to fund a child's education in the state of Wyoming. On and against the amendment, on and for the bill.
Representative Campbell, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Absolutely on and for this amendment. The primary reason being, yes, we have a constitutional obligation to provide equal, equitable, cohesive, whatever the words are, public education system. That is our constitutional obligation. Parents also have a right to choose to not participate in that public education system. That is your choice. It is not our responsibility to fund their choice to leave. So instead of pulling additional funds from our constitutional obligation, my understanding is the 3 that were initially established were because there weren't other options in those communities. I absolutely respect that. And this opened the doors to as many truly goes against the intent, I believe. So absolutely on and for the amendment.
Thank you, Representative Campbell. Representative Nicholas, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So to the good bringer of this amendment, could you explain how you came up with the 18 million and then the 2 million? And I note that in 2024, for the current charter schools, the cost was roughly 8.1 million for the charter schools we have, and it averaged about 15,000 per AUM. And so how does that then compare to other schools?
Thank you, Representative. Representative Larson, JT, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I just want to raise a point to the body that while a few years ago, our parents did get a scope in to see what the education system was like in our state and across the country due to the pandemic and people being home, it was also an unprecedented time for education to go through that and do a total online transition. And so it was not only challenging for the parents, but it was challenging for the educators. So to measure our decisions based off that is not a good choice.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Jarvis for first time.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to clarify a couple little things that I heard. First, that there's no additional costs. If you look at the application itself, I believe there are some pretty significant startup grants and funding associated with starting a charter school, which lends me to believe that there might be more additional costs than people are taking into account for. And I can tell you, in my neck of the woods, there's some new construction going on for a current charter school that will be relocating here soon. I'm pretty sure that comes with some funding attached to it. I am on and for this amendment because this is extremely costly. And I would love to hear from my good representative where, since this funding is there, where is it coming from?
Thank you, Representative Jarvis. Any others for the first time? Do you want to go first? This would be a second. We're still doing first. Representative Wiley, first time.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I'd like to divide the amendment.
How would you like to divide it, Representative?
So I'd like to divide it in two, the first being line 1 through 8 and the next line 9 through 40. I was looking at the general. So page 1, Mr. Speaker, line 1 through 8, and then from then on 9 through 40 on page 1.
I do believe it is divisible. Please proceed. Which one do you want to start with?
I'll start with the first one, Mr. Speaker.
First lines 1 through 8, first division.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please proceed.
So I'm sitting in my desk and I'm hearing this debate here, and it's good debate. I'm glad that we're doing this and we're taking our time with it, and we're being careful. I remember when we started working on charter schools, it was a pretty good lift for this body, and the charter school that we've heard about up in the land of the tall mountains, I think that was 23 when we started talking about that, and they just started working on getting that thing off the ground. Well, here we are in the next general session of my second term, and that thing's just barely getting finished. So I think if we will delete these dates here and defeat this part of the amendment, it would be appropriate.
Thank you, Representative Wiley. Any discussion? First time. Division 1. Representative Harshman, this is Division 1, line 1 through 8 is what we're looking at.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On Division 1, which I understand is lines 1 through 8, which would remove that time period, a 2-year time period of this amendment with these 2 schools in the amendment. I think it's probably okay. Yeah. So if add 2 additional schools to it, and if it's 2, 3, 4, 5 years, this probably could be appropriate. I think I'm just trying to work through this whole budgetary process. I'll answer some of those questions that were brought up in some of the testimony later, but just to this division, on Division 1, on the time thing, sure, I think we could vote for that. And I think, Mr. Speaker, that, gosh, you don't want these things hanging out there forever, but, if the body wants to support that, I think the real crux is going to be in Division 2 as well. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Any others want to speak to Division 1? Representative Nicholas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just for the clarification for the body, as the law currently reads right now, the limitation on charter schools only goes through 2028. So at sometime between now and then, if this bill is unsuccessful, there will be unlimited opportunities unless this body acts again to limit the number of charter schools. So that's my understanding of the law as it currently provides.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for the first time? Division 1, third reading amendment number 1 to HB 94. We are talking about Division 1, lines 1 through 8. Any further discussion? Representative Wiley.
Yeah, just to bring this home, again, we have a body and a board in place to oversee this. I think they can work that appropriate time. We don't need to give them a time limit there. And if the demand's there, it'll be picked up and these folks will get these schools put through. That's why I believe this is appropriate. Please vote aye.
Thank you, Representative. Body, you are voting on Division 1. These are lines 1 through 8 of amendment, first amendment, third reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 94. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The division has failed to be adopted. On to Division 2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bat 1,000. Okay, going back to Division 2 here, again, I think that the body and the board that we have in place for that is appropriate. I think if the demand is there, and it is there, it will be picked up. And just a little oversight here, if we get 2 new ones by the next time this body meets, it'll be pretty easy to discuss about adding another 2 or 3 or 4 or 8. And then that's also going to give us an appropriate amount of time to get some of this data coming in to see how well they're doing, because some of them are doing very well. And then that's just going to kind of, help with our duty to keep, a great quality of education to all Wyomingites. Please vote aye.
Body, you are voting on Division 2. Oh, did I miss somebody for a second time? Oh, I'm sorry. This is first time. Yep, going to second. Any others for the second time? To Representative Harshman. Division 2. First time. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My first time on Division 2. Members, let's talk about the money.
Division.
The key is startup costs. No school district has money to just say, oh, okay, boom, here's money for this building startup costs. So we fund that. That's what we did previously. And that's why this $2 million for state facilities for leasing, and then the $18 million would fund 2 of these. About $10 million to start them up. A couple of years ago, we did this and it was 15, 16 million. We've had inflation since then. So I think that's a safe number. I think there was testimony, I think the good representative from Campbell County about the cost of these. Well, I'll just got kind of a little report here on the cost per ADM, and the average now of these state charters is $15,144 per student. Because we've changed the law, of course, all these public charters are 100% reimbursable of the resource block grant model, 100%. So the only difference would be they don't get funding for central office staff and central, so we don't recreate a whole new central office. So they use those services in the districts. I think there's some charging that goes on and funding with that. So, and I look at the one in my community, it's virtually the same and maybe a little bit more cost per student than they are in my community in county number 1. So I think the idea that these are cheaper is not. These students are still resourced at the exact same amount as every student in that district. It's really important we understand that. There is no cost savings with a charter school. It actually costs us money to set them up. It's just the facts. Now, when we debate on this floor, there is nothing in Mason's, the Constitution, our oath of office, the Wyoming Manual Legislative Procedure, the rules that say we have to be 100% accurate. There isn't. There's nothing says we have to tell the truth. I'm just talking about rules of the House, but through this process of debate, we should correct each other and keep moving it forward. And I've been corrected so many times on this floor. If I had a nickel, I'd be rich for each time. So I think but I think when we say these things is really important. I think there was some talk about an explosion. The explosion is because of money. folks. That's what, and it's all over the country. And I'm not, and I just want us to be really careful that do charter schools have the exact same accounting requirements that public school district trustees have? I don't know that. I'm assuming that. Because other states, I mean, you can Google it, there's been some serious issues. And so when there is money to be made, people will come. And that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, that's the deal. Now, my district, I think, is the only district in Wyoming. It's a countywide school district. School of choice. You can go to any school you want. Been doing that for nearly 30 years. I think it's had some good and some bad. I think the good, obviously, we have dual language immersion. We have stuff you can, the student can attend school close to where you work. It makes it easier, those kind of things. Maybe there's a different, but all these schools operate under the same state standards. All have to cover the same information. One thing I won't go too far in the weeds on this, Mr. Speaker. I guess I'll back up on that. But I think our public schools, parents have incredible choices. And we have 560,000 people. We're not even as big as the school district south of us, and one school district in the city south of us got more kids in the one district than we have in the whole state. And to kind of throw this baby in here and open it up like that, I think would be really irresponsible for us. We don't even know what we got going right now, how it's working. Let's look in 5 years and see if those scores in those schools are average of the rest of the state. We don't know. Let's give it some time, and then we can make better decisions. And again, I know this is political fodder. We're in a time where one or two words make a difference, and we can fly that across the sky behind an airplane or on the social media. And it all sounds good, but it's all about the details. And I think one of our young aides talked about, it's all about the people. And other than water, our most precious resource, my kids and your kids. So I urge you to adopt this Division 2, members. And we can spend another $20 million. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Thayer, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just would like some clarification on the great representative from the middle of the state, and just clarification on charter schools on expenditures. There was the statement saying that they have their own reporting and their own accounting. And these are public funds, and this is a public school. So why would they not have to follow our school district's requirements, accounting, the board? And this is all new. I wasn't able to go back in, but I just needed some clarification on that statement that was made.
Thank you, Representative. Hopefully someone will step back up and give you some clarification on the folks that can better explain that. Any others for their first time? Seeing none, second time. This is first reading amendment, or third reading amendment, excuse me, to House Bill number 94, Division 2. Second time, anyone?
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Wiley.
We'll bring this home. Again, supply and demand. I think there is demand for these. I'm pro school choice. I think my county would be a great place for one of these schools. But this body could determine to throw another 2 or 5 or 10 on in a year from now when we meet again. There's nothing wrong with having some fiscal responsibility here and some caution, and we can move forward. Thank you. Please vote aye.
Thank you, Representative. Body, you are voting on Division 2 of third reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 94. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. I would say the division has not been adopted. Division being called. All those in favor, please stand. You may be seated. All those opposed? Yeah, more than 22. Division has not been adopted. Okay, having been read 3 separate times, the question is, shall the bill pass for House Bill 94? Chief Clerk will take the roll.
Elliman. Andrew. Angelos. Banks. Bear. Brady. Repeat. Bratton. Brown Gary. Brown Landon. Byron. Campbell Elisa. Campbell Kevin. Chestick. Clouston. Connolly. Davis. Eklund. Erickson. Filer. Geringer. Guggenmoss. Haroldson. Harshman. Heiner. Heft. Jarvis. Johnson. Kelly. Knapp. Larson Lloyd. Larson JT. Lawley. Lean. Locke. Lucas. McCann. Nicholas. Ottman. Pendergraft. Posey. Riggins, Posey, Provenza. Riggins, excused. Rodriguez Williams. Schmid. Sherwood. Singh. Smith. Storr. Strock. Stivar. Tarver. Thayer. Washut. Wasserberger. Webb. Weber. Worf. Williams. Winter. Wiley. Yin. Speaker Nyman. Are there any changes? Larson JT, no to aye. Further changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 45 aye, 16 no, 1 excused.
House Bill 94, having received affirmative vote of the majority of the members elected to the House, House Bill 94 has passed the House. Next bill for our consideration is House Bill 96.
House Bill 96, sponsored by Representative McCann, prohibiting mask, vaccine, and testing discrimination, an act relating to public health and safety.
We have amendments. Representative Clouston, third reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 96. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move third reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 96. Ladies and gentlemen, during the debate on this bill, we heard assurances that there's no concern that the federal government, especially with our new administration, will impose fines, withhold payments, or revoke grants for following this Wyoming state law instead of adhering to federal supremacy. However, as one of my constituents who is deeply concerned about this issue aptly stated, if that is true, then the legislators need to put their money where their mouth is. That is precisely what this amendment aims to accomplish. We are sending a clear message to the people of Wyoming that we stand behind them and are willing to share the risk in supporting this bill. So what this bill will do, it says, the state shall fully reimburse any person who complies with this section despite conflicting federal law for the cost of any damages, fines, or penalties the person has incurred as a result of compliance with this section. So I'm asking for your support on this amendment, that we support the people of Wyoming who believe that this is the correct bill and believe that there will be really no federal repercussions in following Wyoming state law. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Clauston. Representative Geringer for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in support of the amendment to House Bill 96 because it ensures that our state steps into its rightful role, not as a bystander, but as a protector of its people and institutions. This amendment is about doing what is right, not just what's easy. So at its heart, House Bill 96 is a bill that seeks to protect the freedoms of Wyoming people, to prevent discrimination based on choices about masks, vaccines, or testing, and I stand firmly behind the principle because freedom is not just a slogan here. It's our way of life. But as I've said before, principles don't exist in a vacuum. They have to be carried out in a way that's fair and just without unintended harm. Without this amendment, the bill leaves hospitals, airports, and others to fend for themselves against federal overreach. And Mr. Speaker, let me tell you, that's not the Wyoming way. If there's one thing folks in this state know, it's that you don't leave a neighbor to face a bully alone. You remember the guy in the white hat from the old Westerns? That's the person who rides in when trouble comes to town, not because it's his fight, but because it's the right thing to do. The white hat doesn't stand by and let the weak face the strong. The white hat takes the lead, faces the bully head on, and protects those who can't adequately protect themselves. The bill itself does part of that. But let's be clear who the black hat from the old Westerns is. With the main bill, our hospitals and airports are stuck between the proposed law of this state and the mandates of the federal government. They don't have the resources to fight those battles, nor should they have to. They're here to save lives, to connect communities, to serve the good people of Wyoming. Asking them also to stand up to federal overreach is like asking the doctor to fight the outlaw when they should be tending to the wounded. It's not their job, it's ours. This amendment is the white hat. It says to our hospitals, to our airports, and to our citizens, we've got your back. If they face fines, penalties, or damages, it's because they complied with this bill, and the state will make them whole. We won't leave them alone to carry the burden of standing up to Washington. Mr. Speaker, adopting this amendment is about responsibility. Conservatives believe in limited federal government and strong state government. This is our opportunity to live up to that belief. Our Wyoming government should be the one taking on federal overreach, not our businesses or critical institutions that are already struggling to serve their communities. As the saying goes, when you ride for the brand, you protect the herd. And that's what we're doing here, protecting our people, our institutions, and the freedoms we hold dear. This amendment strengthens the bill by ensuring it upholds the values of fairness, justice, and responsibility that we all share. Mr. Speaker, members of the 68th Legislature, I urge you to support this amendment. Let's wear the white hat today. Let's show the people of Wyoming that their government is here to fight for them, not leave them to face the fight alone. That's the Wyoming way. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Williams, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, after speaking with some of the employers in my district in the healthcare field, they mentioned how this legislation opens them up to medical audit. Their experience has proven that federal health departments are very serious about investigating and penalizing healthcare providers who are in violation. They educated me on invasive review, patient care interruption, financial penalty, further review and audit. one of the small businesses in my community has never asked employees for vaccination status. He's never required employees to be vaccinated. His facilities were the first I know of that unmasked during the pandemic. On the surface, this bill appears to be pro-individual choice, preventing discrimination at a number of levels. And on the surface, this bill appears to be in response to events and criticisms of the national and international pandemic. The individual choice part of this bill within the context of healthcare business seems to be partially an anti-Wyoming small business stance, specifically in Wyoming healthcare small businesses. This bill appears to be evolving even further into big government, with us overreaching in a way that would hurt our local small businesses, my local small businesses. When we consider the federal penalties we expose our small businesses to with this bill, I just feel this bill is written, it's going to be hard on Main Street in my communities. On and for this amendment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Williams. Representative Wiley, first time.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. You know, this last couple of days, we've had a lot of folks come in from home, and then they're asking us these questions. They're asking me these questions. You know, Representative Wiley, what's going on? Are we going to be okay? I said, yeah, you need to have faith in the body. We're working towards a solution that should be palatable for everybody. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You know, we've heard face value of this bill is great. Unintended consequences, I've kind of struggled with it the last few times we've heard it on this floor and with this body, last few sessions. I am in, lockstep with this agreement. I think if we're going to let people do this and take a liability, we need to say, hey, we have your backs, and it's the right thing to do. With that, I'll call for 12-4 and get ayes and the noes on this. Thanks.
We'll need 1 second. Second it, Representative Larson. Representative Larson, your first time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the impassioned plea on the state's responsibility. We've got our white hats on, our cinches tight. Dagburn, we're headed down the trail. We're going, and it's time to stop for water. And where's your gun? Well, I thought you got the gun. Well, where's your gun? No, you was going to get the gun. Where's the appropriation in this amendment? So if we're going to have the state fund it, with what? Right? That's how we do this, is if we're going to require the state to do them, then we give them the resources to do it. And who's going to do? So if we give these resources and it's not here, I'm not arguing the intent for the amendment, but we forgot the gun. Frankly, we shouldn't have to have the gun. Since just about all of the restrictions on mandates and requests have been, mandates and restrictions have been lifted on that particular virus, the COVID-19. The only one that's really left is in healthcare facilities under the infectious control plans that they have to have for this virus, other bacterias, and other the concerns that you might have for other harmful spreads of when your kid's sick or anybody else is sick. And so they're saying that you have to have in place, if you receive Medicaid or Medicare dollars, which in our long-term care facilities are the largest two, over probably about 65% of all revenue coming in comes from those two sources. They're saying you have to have a plan that helps us to prevent the spread of any of these viruses. And so in a nursing home, if this person is identified, if is sick, they test, they find out it has COVID-19, then they have to put in the criteria might require a mask. Heaven forbid, we just tested to see what's wrong with the person, right? If we do that, then we're subjecting that institution to a penalty to all the aggrieved people, if it's a nurse, if it's a family, whoever that is. In our public airports, they have to put a placard on the wall that says something to do with COVID. It hasn't been enforced, but the placard's still a requirement. You have to leave the placard up there, then, and we're taking offense to that, then there's going to be a potential fine of $5,000 per person. Really? Yeah. And what freedom have we taken by having that placard on the wall? I appreciate the amendment. On the ayes, I'm going to vote for it because it feels good, but we left our guns back at the bunkhouse on that. Maybe that can get fixed somehow. I don't know, because it's third reading. And we don't, in this body, well, historically in this body, one of the things we really try to do, and it gets our goat, is we really try to send bills that are clean to the other side. Gets our goat when we get down there and they see we should have had a semicolon when we put a period, or we put failure and should have had failure, or failure and should have had poor or something. We're better than
Point
the
of
Senate.
order.
Your point, Representative?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're on an amendment that talks about an appropriation. I realize that we have a large freshman class, but they've already gone through freshman orientation. They know about bill writing, and I don't think we need a history lesson on what's been done in the past. Let's stick to the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would argue against the protest. I think what I'm trying to explain there is when we do an amendment such as this, and why we vote for it, why there's validity in having it correct.
I appreciate that, Representative, but I would ask that we would try to expedite somewhat. Please try to.
Thank you,
get to your
Mr.
point.
Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
I'll comply. So, folks, I'll vote for the amendment, but please vote no for the bill. Don't need it.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Angelos for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to push back and kind of alleviate the fear. I'm on and against, and it is my good friend from coal country, but 13 other states have passed similar legislation. There has only been one, loss in 2022 in a state up by the Great Lakes that starts with an M. One. They were fined $630,000 in 2022. There has not been one single penalty since. The government, that's one thing with Wyomingites, is they stand up to the federal government. This empowers our small businesses to not have to comply with the federal government. And my own constituents are asking for this. There is a lot of fear over this issue, and there has not been, in the last almost 3 years, any penalties. And 13 states have passed this. So I urge a no vote on the amendment and a yes on the bill.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First for a second.
Thank you, Representative Rodriguez-Williams. Representative Washut for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and for the amendment. Members, you might remember that in the debate yesterday, I asked about the private businesses that receive government subsidies that would be subject to this bill. Because the bill, of course, says any person who receives government subsidies is subject to the bill. And you might also recall that that was never answered at the mic yesterday. But if you go online and look, you'll see there's quite a few of these businesses that are going to be affected by this bill, potentially. And as a private entity that just happens at the corporate level to receive federal subsidies, I asked, how far does that trickle down? Does it trickle down to our auto dealers in our communities and some of these other businesses that are subsidiaries of these corporations that receive government subsidies. And if all of those folks are going to be potentially caught up in the crosshairs of this bill, and if in fact there is no risk, then this amendment should be simple enough to put in place just in case. On and for the amendment.
Thank you, Representative Washut. Representative Guggemos, your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and against the amendment, I want to be clear, the federal government has zero authority to mandate anything. Let's not pay them fine money for standing up against them. Let's fight as a state the overreach of the federal government. We can and will win if we are united. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for the first time? Seeing none for their first time, second time. Representative McCann, first time, please go ahead. Yeah, and I would just say, I mean, and that's fine, I get that he's close, but if you are going to speak to the matter, please step up to the podium so I know. If you're waiting, there you go, Representative Posey, you'll be called on next. Yeah, get up where I can see you so I know that you are engaged in this and that I don't have to try to draw it out of you. Representative McCann, please proceed.
My apologies, Mr. Chair.
Not a problem. Go ahead.
With respect to my physical therapist cohort, as mentioned earlier by a previous speaker, there are at least 9 to 13 other states that have legislation to this effect. The federal government has not gone after them, so to speak. Frankly, doing so, I think, would be a public relations nightmare for them. I sure would make it my mission to be so. I'm against this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative McCann. Representative Posey, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to mention, in reference to the amendment and to the bill itself, is my constituents on the Wind River Indian Reservation have a sovereign status. And I just want to extend that to the legislative body here, that they through treaties and have the right to establish their own laws and orders. So I just want this body to be aware of that. I mentioned that a couple days ago, but I just wanted to reaffirm that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Posey. Any others for the first time? Any others? Seeing none, anyone for their second time? Representative Wiley, second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to try to stay as simple as possible. I always try to do that. I try to be really quick up here, but I just want to kick the horse again. All we're doing with this amendment is saying, okay, you tell the federal government there's overreach here. You tell the federal government no, and then when they hit you with a monetary fine or come after you, we'll be there as a state. That's what we're doing. Nothing else. This is what the amendment does. It strengthens the bill. It's saying, hey, we all got skin in the game. We're going to have your back. Let's have their back. I want to keep my airport open, or not hear from them saying, we just lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, or the hospitals. Let's have their back. Vote aye.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for the second time? Representative Williams? Rodriguez-Williams for second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So if these entities that are receiving federal subsidies have a problem with the mandates that are imposed on them, they really need to go take their issue up with Congress. We don't need to foot the bill. Second, I appreciate the good words of my fellow colleague from the area where the river's named after the wind. The feds don't have supremacy over public health matters in our state. And to the other representative from where the river is named after the wind, if the mandates have been lifted, then there's no need to pass this amendment. And again, I am opposed to the amendment for the bill, and to the good representative from county number 2 that talked about hats and so forth. I push back because there are doctors that are willing to fight outlaws, especially when their licenses are threatened by unelected bureaucrats. On and against.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for the second time? Second time? Seeing none, to the bringer. Representative Costin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, all of you, for your thoughts and for the debate. I really appreciate it. On the question of the appropriation, I left it off on purpose. It's really undeterminable, right? We don't know what the federal government will do. We don't know what those costs will be. So if we want to decide we're going to put certain money away to defend these lawsuits, if they would ever come, this body can do that. But I do think we need to be responsible and accountable to our constituents. If we believe in this law and in this bill, and we're going to put them on the hook for it, this is our decision. They don't get to decide. They're going to get fined one way or the other if the feds bring this on. So this is a decision that we're putting on them. We need to be responsible for our actions. We need to be accountable for what we do in this body. I'm asking you to please vote yes on this amendment and show everybody that we have their backs. If we're going to pass these bills and these laws that hold them accountable on our decisions, we need to back that up. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Body, you will be voting on third reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 96. A roll call vote has been asked for. Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
Allemand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown Gary? Brown Landon? Byron? Campbell Elisa? Campbell Kevin? Chestick? Clouston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Filer? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke? Lucas? McCann? Nicholas? Ottman? Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins, excused. Rodriguez-Williams? Schmid? Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strzok? Stivar? Tarver? Thayer? Washut? Wasserberger? Webb? Weber? Wharf? Williams? Winter? Wiley? Yin? Speaker Nyman? Are there any changes? Are there any changes? Campbell Kevin, aye. To no further changes. Closing vote. Vote closed. 28 aye, 33 no, 1 excused.
By your vote, you have chosen not to adopt the third reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 96. We have one more amendment, House Bill 96, third reading amendment number 2. Representative Campbell, Elisa, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I move Committee of the Whole, third reading, second amendment to House Bill 96.
Please proceed.
Thank you. So first, my understanding, this could be very not accurate, because I have had more experience on the city council level and our county commissioner level than I have at the state level. But every time the state changes a law, as a county and as a city, we have to update our ordinances, because we have to be in compliance with the state, because the state trumps the city. And every time the federal law changes, increasing or decreasing, this age from 18 to 21 or whatever, as a state, we then have to adjust to be in compliance with federal law. So my understanding is, yes, federal law does trump state law, which trumps city law, and we have to be in compliance. The challenge we have is that this bill puts many entities in that sticky spot between if I am in compliance with federal law, I violate state law. Well, and federal law trumps state law. So we've heard some great testimony as to the number of states that have done this, and there haven't been any. Doesn't mean it's not out there, and they're not in compliance with federal law. So how do we mitigate that risk? Having defeated the most previous amendment, Clouston's amendment, there's more to this story, and this is where, oh, I'm so sorry, I was reading it.
Yep, I was just
I'm
going to
so
say,
sorry.
don't use proper names, that's fine.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
I
Don't
was
beat yourself
reading.
up, we're just trying to learn together here.
Okay, I
Please
appreciate
proceed.
that. So the former amendment, this amendment addresses some additional issues that we have received from our constituents. So for this amendment, you will see on page 1, line 4, before the word providing, we're going to insert providing for reimbursement for lost funding as specified. Pages 4, after line 7, we will delete the previous amendment, that line, and insert the following. The state shall fully reimburse any person or entity that complies with this section despite conflicting federal law for any federal funding or grants that are lost as a result of compliance with this section. For the county that I represent, we have received a grant, millions of dollars for a much-needed new tower. Our facilities that rely on Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement, that's federal funding, and receive grants, some of our physical therapy businesses, they receive millions of dollars in grants and federal funding. And if they are in violation of federal law, they risk losing that funding. So as a state, because we forced them into violation of federal law, as many of our other speakers have said, if we're going to mandate that, we need to say we got your back. We will help you. Strongly encourage you to vote for the Second Amendment.
Thank you, Representative Campbell. Representative Baer, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a quick comment about the bringer of the amendment's comments. When the federal government creates a law, it has to be within the enumerated powers in the Constitution. Oftentimes, the federal government manipulates states and smaller subdivisions with our tax dollars. So you will look at the United States Constitution. There is no enumerated power to pay for health care, to provide health care, to pay for towers at an airport. Those are done by taking our tax dollars to Washington, D.C., or by printing money and then saying, hey, if you do this, we'll give you this money. And for far too long, this state has jumped at those opportunities instead of thinking about the very people that live here and what they want and how they want to live. It's been very clear since the pandemic that our constituents do not want to be controlled by a gentleman who was not elected, who's been running these agencies that determine what our response is to a pandemic. So the point of the matter is, we can create laws that may be in conflict with some coercion that the federal government has set up. And there's many examples. The state to the south of us has legalized a substance that is illegal at the federal level. What we have not seen is that that state was prevented from receiving its federal dollars, whether it's for CMS or whether it's for airport funding or transportation funding. In fact, the very gentleman who is now our executive in this country put out an executive order that if you didn't comply with our federal immigration laws as a state or a city, that you would lose funding for your law enforcement. That was overthrown by the courts. Every state that was in violation of that federal mandate still got their funding. So why has Wyoming decided to be the last to challenge the federal government and protect its citizens? I ask you this as I am opposed to the amendment and for the bill.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Yin for his first time.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I'm not sure what all of that had to do with the amendment. The amendment is about making sure that we defend our local businesses, right? So it's making sure that, you know, we're saying fight the federal government. Got it. Fight the federal government. But to do that, we have to make sure that we're not going to bankrupt anyone in the process. I don't want to close businesses. I don't want any of our businesses to close. We're asking them to fight the federal government, then we should have their back. We should fight with them, not force them to be the frontline infantry that's going to fall because we told them to fight instead of us fighting ourselves. So again, let's fight the federal government. I'm all for it. If you think that there's going to be no penalty, again, what's the reason for opposing the amendment? It doesn't make sense to oppose the amendment. It doesn't make any sense unless you think that there's a chance that there will be a penalty and we don't want to pony up for it. I think we should defend our small businesses. I support our small businesses. I hope you do too. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Yin. Representative McCann, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The greater majority of this opposition to this bill isn't really about safety. It's about our addiction to the financial welfare state and the tyranny we are willing to accept. What I do know at this time, there is no reason for these tyrannical restrictions to be mandated, but not enforced, and yet still tied to purse strings. That is what this bill is all about, discrimination. And correct me if I'm wrong, but by my reading of the definition,
Point of order.
this is also coercion.
Representative, what's your point?
Not speaking to the amendment, speaking to the bill, and I'm not sure the relevance to the amendment.
Would you like to clarify?
The underlying reason for this amendment is the financial dollars that they feel that they're going to lose. So I think it is germane.
Representative, please proceed.
I stand against the bill, or the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Williams, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My small town businesses really don't have the tyranny on their mind when they contact me. They're just worried about the unintended consequences of this legislation, and I feel like this amendment just shows them that we're willing to stand beside them on and for the amendment.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Jarvis, for first time.
Thank you, Speaker. So I guess my question here is, if I hear correctly, the disputes to this amendment, they're around, what I'm hearing is, it's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. So I guess my question is, if it's not going to happen, don't worry about it. Yet there's this slight possibility, because it did happen in one of the states that were part of that statistic, then why not just approve this amendment, take care of our people? As my other representative over here says, we pay our bills. So we can hedge our bets, knowing that the likelihood that it probably won't happen, but we can also provide the safety and reduce the stress of those people who want to be law-abiding citizens. Our people want to follow the laws. So what's it hurt to put this in place when it likely won't cost us anything, but it does worlds for providing the protections for our small businesses, for our airports, for our healthcare. It absolutely provides them the safety net to say, let's do this. Let's stand up against the federal government. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for their first time? Representative Connolly, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am concerned about my healthcare facilities in my county. Long-term care facilities, skilled care facilities, hospitals. I'm really nervous that if the potential, I've worked in that health setting. I worked in it during COVID, 12 hours a day for 3 months. I know what masks, N95s with fit testing can do to help a hospital in dealing with these types of viruses. My concern is that this is going to cost our healthcare facilities money at some point. If COVID virus mutates, okay, we're still looking at a COVID virus. I truly feel that for my district that we need to accept this amendment, and we have to do this. Maybe this is out of line, I don't know. But we've got money to fight the federal government for all kinds of lawsuits. We're fighting them over private rights. We're fighting them over water. We're fighting them over natural resource management plans. Why not put a little funding along in there and be able to fight this if and when we have to? Now, I'm not in favor of mandates or telling anybody they have to wear a mask or they have to get a vaccine. I think that's their business, and we should stay out of that. So I'm not against this bill. I just think we better have something in there to protect our healthcare facilities.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Provenza, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There's been a lot of conversation that the federal government can't oversee state, and I want to read from our Constitution. The Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution provides that the laws of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. That's Article 6. And then additionally, in our Constitution, and again, we swore an oath to both of them.
Representative, props.
Sorry.
You can keep that down. Thank you.
The supreme prop, I suppose. Our Constitution, Article 1, Section 37, Constitution of the United States, supreme law of the land. State of Wyoming is an inseparable part of the federal union, and the Constitution of the United States is the supreme law of the land. Just keep that in mind, on and for the amendment.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Kelly, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and against the amendment has a fundamental and fatal flaw in it, it references federal law. We are talking about federal rules which are not passed through the Congress and signed by the chief executive. We're talking about bureaucratic agencies making dictates. Those are federal rules, and the fact that rules are not even mentioned in the amendment is speaking past the issue.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Tarver.
Mr. Speaker, what the previous speaker said. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative Tarver. Representative Chestic, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In response to the comment from the representative from county number 3, I think the word law in this amendment is used generically. Laws are made by courts, called common law. Laws are made by legislatures, enacted law. Laws are made by the executive branch, called regulations. They're all binding on people because, and in that sense, they are law. And therefore, I believe I speak in favor of the amendment, and I resist the idea that administrative agencies don't make law. They do in the common, ordinary sense of that word. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for their first time? Representative Clauston.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, we keep hearing there's no risk. The feds won't follow through with this. There's no risk to that. Well, the way this bill is written without this amendment, you're right, there's no risk to any of us as legislators. There's no risk to the state. The risk is fully burdened on our constituents, on our nursing homes, on our hospitals. All this amendment is asking is that we accept some of the risk, that we take the risk with them. I mean, there would be nothing better than what if this did happen? We don't want one of our nursing homes to have to fight this. We want the state to fight it. The nursing homes don't have that money to fight the feds based on our law. We want to accept this responsibility. We want to pony up the money. We want to be accountable, and we want to take that fight to the feds. And that's what this amendment is asking for. I please ask you to vote aye on this amendment.
Thank you, Representative Clauston. Representative Locke, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just clarifying and just making sure it was clear. Article 1, Section 37, Constitution of the United States is the supreme law of the land. I don't want to be confused with, as was stated previously, these rules that are put out there for other purposes are the supreme law. That's not the case. And against amendment for the bill.
Any others for their first time? First time on this amendment, second time. Representative Tarver, second time.
Mr. Speaker, I'm against this amendment, but I'm certainly feeling the body wants to set aside some money to fight the government, and I do fully support a bill coming forward that we could set some money aside if we want to fight the government. Let's do it.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for their second time? It's a pretty substantial list up here. Everybody ready to go? Seeing no one, Representative Campbell, if you'd like to bring us home on this amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I imagine we're all thinking it's way past lunchtime. So one final consideration for this amendment. I would encourage individuals to maybe look into the January 13th, well, it was 2022, when the Supreme highest court in our nation ruled that any organization not in compliance with federal law and federal rule, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS that we refer to, could absolutely withhold Medicare funds from provider organizations that were not in compliance. That was in January of 22. So our highest court said, if you are not in compliance, they can withhold funding. We cannot put our airports, our hospitals, our critical care centers, our nursing homes We cannot put them at risk for not being in compliance, knowing that their funds can be pulled. So this amendment simply says, we got you. It's not about fighting legal costs. It's not about damages. It's about how do we help you continue to do the work that you have been charged to do? And that's maintaining those sources of revenue. So this amendment helps them do that. You can absolutely be in compliance with state law, and we will ensure that you continue to have the revenue to serve our communities. Strongly suggest we vote aye on this amendment.
Thank you, Representative. Body, you are voting on third reading amendment number 2 to House Bill 96. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. Amendment has not been adopted. Moving on. Let's see, do we have, is that it? That's it? Okay. House Bill 96, having been read 3 separate times, the question is, shall the bill pass? Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
Allemand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown Gary? Brown Landon? Byron? Campbell Elisa? Campbell Kevin? Repeat? Chestick? Plouston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Filer? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke? Lucas? McCann? Nicholas? Ottman? Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins, excused. Rodriguez Williams? Schmid? Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strock? Stivar? Tarver? Thayer? Washut? Wasserberger? Webb? Weber? Worf? Williams? Winter? Wiley? Yin? Speaker Nyman.
Aye.
Are there any changes? Byron, no to aye. Further changes? Further changes? Closing vote? Vote closed. 45 aye, 16 no, 1 excused.
Members, House Bill 96, having received the affirmative vote of the majority of the members elected to the House, House Bill 96 has passed the House. Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House stand in recess until 2:15.
Heard the motion of the Majority Floor Leader. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. Motion passed. We will be in recess until 2:15. Committee announcements. Representative Washington, Chairman Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your committee number 1 will meet on Monday morning at 8 a.m. in our regular room to hear 2 bills, House Bill 207, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, and House Bill 54, Chancery Court Judges, District and Circuit Court Assistants.
Representatives, can we please hold it down? We've got some other folks here that need to give committee announcements. Representative Bear, Chairman Bear.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your committee number 2, Appropriations, is meeting in 10 minutes in room E301 and online to discuss House Bill 103, House Bill 276, and House Bill 173, and re-referrals as assigned.
Members, with all due respect, these chairmen are trying to give their committee assigned reports or their committee announcements. please be respectful and listen so the other members can hear it. Representative Heiner, Chairman Heiner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your committee number 9 will meet on Monday morning at 7:30 in room 5. We will finish up on House Bill 59, limited mining operations, water quality testing, and then we'll take up House Bill 209, reliable and dispatchable low carbon standards, repeal, and then House Bill 184, utilities point of consumption and allocation agreements, and if there is time, we'll take up House Bill 201, state funds investment in Bitcoin.
Thank you, Chairman Heiner. Chairman Knapp.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Your Corporations Committee number 7 will meet at 12:30 today in Capitol Room Extension E0005. We will hear House Bill 133, Sanctuary Cities, Counties, and State Prohibition. We'll hear HB 160, Voter Identification Revisions, and HB 81, Regulatory Reduction Mortgage Loan Originator Licensing.
Thank you, Chairman Knapp. Any other announcements? Seeing none, thank you, representatives. We'll see this House will come back from recess at 2:15. Enjoy your lunch.